Welcome again, laddies and gentlemen, back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Are you having a good weekend? I hope so. I am. Right. Skye Nicolson returned with her second stoppage in a row. But she is down at super bantamweight now, having lost her belt to Tiara Brown, WBC featherweight belt. She moved down to 122. And, you know, she's fought a couple of lower level girls, but sometimes, as we always say, it's how you get your work done. And Skye's looked pretty good. And this time round, she was in against URVASHI Singh of India, who came in with 12 wins, 7 KOs, so quite a high KO percentage for the women's game. 2-minute rounds and all that, you know I hate them. She had 3 defeats on the record, but they were all on points, but again, to low-level girls. So an obvious choice would be, you know, Skye to completely outbox her, which for as long as the fight lasted is exactly what happened. Skye, she now moves to, this was a second round stoppage, by the way. She stopped Singh with she's a southpaw, Skye is, with a left hand to the body, which had Singh turning sideways, walking away, and then eventually taking a knee. And she didn't beat the count. She shook her head and couldn't go on. The body punch undid her. And Skye is now 14 wins with 3 KOs, 1 defeat to Tiara Brown 3 fights ago. But 2 second-round stoppages in a row. Yeah, I mean, in quick succession, because she fought in July, and now she's fought in August. So that's what she needs. She needs regular work. And she says, the commentators were saying she looked big for the weight, which is understandable because she dropped down a weight. I always felt Skye could be a super bantam because, you know, without being in any way fat, she had quite a soft middle, and you feel you could lose a few pounds there, maybe 4 pounds. Perhaps she could even get down to bantam. I don't know, because her physique is, even though she's you know, she looks fit. She doesn't look cut, so it looks like they might be able to shave another pound or 2 off her. But super bantam's good, and she does seem to be hitting a bit better. For as long as the fight lasted against Singh, she outboxed her. There was no way Singh was going to win this fight. In order to beat Skye, you have to put consistent, relentless pressure on her. I mean, a Tiara Brown fight was, you know, close, very close, I thought. I don't begrudge Tiara getting the win at all. I think, you know, that's fine. Decision was okay by me. But even though she was putting pressure on Skye, Skye was able to still create all sorts of problems for Tiara. And after the fight, she was calling out Tiara, saying, "I want my belt back. You've got what's mine," and all the usual cliches. And probably if they fought again, I might favour Skye again. I thought she would outpoint Tiara in the first fight. I think Tiara showed something against Skye. She showed a lot of guts, a lot of willing, a lot of determination, and there was the impression that she kind of wanted it more when they fought. And I wonder if Skye had got a bit complacent as a featherweight, undefeated, easily outboxing all these girls without barely losing a round. And along comes Tiara Brown and says, you know, the buck stops with me, and proves it. So a rematch up at featherweight, I'd watch that. But Skye at 122, she does look more physically imposing. She is in against smaller girls. I suppose some people are going to use the weight bully thing, but I don't buy that weight. A lot of those weight bullying arguments. I know what's meant by it, but I think most of the time, if you can make a certain weight, you've got certain dimensions, and you can make a certain weight, and you're prepared to fight there. First of all, you've made the weight, which is fine, as long as it's, you know, as long as it's not a case of like when Arturo Gatti fought. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a trainer now. But he weighed in as a middleweight and knocked the guy out in 2 rounds, knocked him flat, knocked him out. That's a dangerous increase of weight between the weigh-in and the actual your actual ring weight. But so long as that's not happening, I don't think you can accuse a lot of fighters of being weight bullies. And also, if you boil yourself down to a certain weight, that can be negative. That can drain you, as we saw with, you know, Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn. Clearly, the weight had affected him. Ben shook him very early, I think the second round with a left hook. And Ben is a much, much smaller man. Why was Ben able to compete so well with Eubank? Because he was physically fit. He was allowed to come in at whatever weight he wanted because he's really just a welterweight. So he came in at, was it 156 or something like that? and Eubank was really struggling to get down to 160. So I really think that this weight, this 122, will suit Skye Nicolson, because she now has the added string to her bow of having a sort of increased power ratio, as well as all the skills. She's always had all the skills. She's a very, very skillful boxer. So I'm quite impressed with Skye. I must be honest, I found her dull to watch at featherweight. I thought it was like fencing. It was like, oh God, this is, tedious. Jab, 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 a few little combinations here and there, move your feet a lot. You knew how her fights were going to go, and she was boring. Apart from the Tiara Brown fight and the fight she had with that young Spanish girl earlier on. The Spanish girl really, again, put enormous amounts of pressure on Skye. This is going back a few years. That kid's name, I can't remember her name. But she was able to put pressure on Tanya Alvarez was the girl's name, Tanya Alvarez. Back in, 2-3 years ago, she was able to put pressure on Skye. And again, Skye seemed a bit complacent, like she was just going to box and fence and do all that. And then by the end of the fight, Skye was absolutely knackered. So if you put pressure on her, consistent pressure, yes, you can get to her, grind her down. But even though it's only 10 twos, which is 20 minutes of boxing, and I hate 2-minute rounds. But now she's down at 122. She's got a bit more of a physical imposition, a bit more weight behind her punches. And it will be interesting to see if that power carries to people who have more skill, because the two fighters she's faced since losing to Tanya, well, low-level girls. But we'll see. So yeah, onwards and upwards for Skye. Let me know what you think. Maybe this is kind of almost like the sort of beginning of her career, or the first world title run was almost a dress rehearsal. You never know. She's still young enough to do things. She's only 29, pushing 30 maybe. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you think Skye can be a world champion. Do you like watching her, or do you find her dull? Let me know your opinions, whatever you got. And I'll give them a read. Thanks for watching the video. As usual, I'm going to say now, hit the like button, that little clicky thing, and subscribe to the channel, because we've always got videos virtually every day coming at you. And yeah, thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. More to come, by the way. More to come from Australia and beyond. See you later.